Last year, I analyzed hundreds of real estate investors' businesses who were closing deals consistently. And a shocking pattern emerged. 90% of them all over the country were stuck at or below $500,000 per year in revenue, while the top 10% were bringing in millions per year in revenue, oftentimes more than $2 or $3 million per year. And what's funny is the people with the $3-4 million businesses were grinding less than the people with $500,000 businesses. The difference wasn't finding more deals or having more experience. I found that the people who had grown way beyond $500,000 a year to multiple millions of dollars per year all followed a similar architecture. If you're tired of being trapped in the same day-to-day grind while watching your margin shrink, then you need to watch this video, because I'm about to break down what separates high-level multi-million dollar per year real estate investors from the perpetually struggling amateurs. My name is Ruud-Johnson, and I founded a company called Easy Button Investor. And we don't do courses, we don't do masterminds. We sell leads and services, including software and other things, to active investors and agents around the country. Those services, including lead generation, help them build bulletproof businesses that actually scale and make profit. Today, I'm revealing, after working with hundreds of companies since the inception of my business, I'm going to be revealing exactly what separates an amateur real estate investor from a professional. And for you guys out there that are real estate agents, this applies to you. A lot of our clients are real estate agents looking to learn the investment side and build their book of business by creating their own inventory. This is the same framework that I use to scale my real estate business, HelloPad, to $3.5 million per year while fighting Lyme disease and having to work essentially part-time. We are first going to cover the structural flaws that keep most real estate investors stuck. Then the 5-level architecture to implement into your business that actually will unlock a business that makes profit that's not a prison. And finally, how to start implementing that system this week. Let's start with why most real estate investors are what I call hustlers and how they stay perpetually stuck in this doom and gloom cycle. The first flaw is the revenue roller coaster, and that is the reality that most investors, I call them the richest broke people I know, most investors, big to small, when they're amateurs, when they're stuck in this flaw, they never seem to have money. They never have the money to hire, to build systems, and to actually build stability in their business. The data shows that most investors have a 70 to 80% fluctuation in revenue month over month. The data shows that most of their deals come in a 3 to 4 month period every single year. And the data shows that psychological stress in entrepreneurs and business owners, which is always there, but when it gets exacerbated by cash flow issues, it leads to terrible decision making. A specific story that comes to mind as an investor I've worked with for about a year, when he came to me, he would have a month of $40, $50, $60, $100,000 in revenue and then go 3 months without doing a single deal. And if you don't manage your cash flow and revenue correctly, that is going to be the case for most people. I'm sure a lot of you guys watching this can relate to that situation and that scenario. This cycle creates a permanent financial prison where you feel like you're working every single day, 10, 12, 14 hours a day, Monday through Sunday for a lot of you guys, just to feed the beast, to feed the machine. And at the end of it, there's not that much left over for you anyways. The second structural flaw is what I call the skill set ceiling. And a good quote by Dan Martell in his book, and what he talks about a lot, is that investors and business owners, I should say, entrepreneurs, don't scale past their pain threshold. And the way you build your pain threshold is by building a collective of skill set between people where naturally you break through that ceiling. But a lot of you guys get stuck in the skill set ceiling as the second structural flaw because you try to do everything yourself. You are trying to manage finance, legal, operations, sales, and marketing. And the reality is, you guys, as you grow your business, a lot of the skills you've built early on, like sales, don't translate to the things that matter when you start scaling, like management. And the reality is, no matter how hard you work, your personal capacity and skill set will max out. As a business grows, you cannot be everywhere at the same time and do all those things to the level that need to be done to grow a business the right way. I see investors typically hitting that ceiling between $30,000 and $60,000 in monthly revenue when they really hit that ceiling hard and have to learn how to start delegating and building a team if they want to continue to grow profitably. They're usually working 80-hour weeks, and when they come to me, a lot of the time they start using our services, they're about ready to quit, right? A lot of the times, I had a conversation last week, one guy specifically, Greg, who's in my inner circle, who was talking about going back and getting a job. That's where you end up if you get into this cycle, into this trap. And that's what leads to the most insidious flaw, the one that kills the most companies, which is the third structural flaw I like to talk about, which is the owner dependency trap, where you can't take vacations without your business stopping and your income ceasing to exist. You have no exit strategy. You have no plan. You have no profitable machine actually building profit that you can invest and eventually get off the hamster wheel. And every dollar you make requires more of your time. So you're not building leverage. And there's 4 types of leverage: content, code, collaboration, and capital. And you're not building those. The harsh reality is that if your business can't function without you for 30 days or longer, you don't have a business. You have a high-paying job with more stress, more responsibility, and at the end of the day, less fun than going and just getting a job. Now let's look at the solution to all of this, which is my 5 levels of leverage. This is the exact framework that I've used to scale my real estate company past $3.5 million per year, and that I've helped clients implement hundreds around the country, agents and investors that use our services. First is just having a good business foundation. And what my business foundation is, you have an operating system, how you have meetings, how you document your KPIs, how you run your finances, what your entity structure looks like. For example, I was having a conversation with one of my clients. He uses all of our products and services a couple weeks ago, and he was overpaying probably by $40,000 to $50,000 a year in taxes just because of how he had his entity and his corporation set up and the tax election he was taking. And so for you guys out there listening, this is the boring part, but if you're starting to do deals and make money, imagine what an extra $30,000, $40,000, $50,000 can do for your business deployed into marketing or hiring if that's not going to the IRS. And I'm not talking about doing anything unethical or illegal. I'm talking about using the rules and regulations that have been set out by the IRS and our country to benefit business owners, to benefit yourself. You want to make sure you are doing the basics there. And time again, I see high income earners in business just destroying what's left over at the end of the year by not paying attention to their legal and finance side of their business. The second thing is operational automation. And what I mean by this is creating systems that eliminate the routine tasks in your business, your underwriting process, your transaction management workflows, right? How the paperwork is done, who's doing the paperwork. I'm talking about anything that is not sales and marketing. If you're an investor and an agent trying to source your own deals and build your business, anything that's not sales, marketing, and operations related, if you're running projects, active deals, you're doing value add deals, then you are wasting your time. And I make fun of agents and investors all the time on my Instagram story because they think a productive day is waking up, doing an ice bath, going to a sales meeting, responding to some emails. 90% of your time should go towards sales, marketing, or if you're running your projects efficiently. That is where the money is made. That is where you build leverage. And so operational automation usually comes with systems, but also building a team of admin assistants for $4, $5, $6 an hour, hiring off Upwork or other platforms that can take care of a lot of the busy work for you. Level 3 is marketing systemization. And the flaw a lot of you guys watching this make is that you think that marketing is an expense. Marketing is an investment into your business, your team, and your profit, right? Because if you're getting a 3-4x return on ad spend, the reality is a lot of investors, we think of that as an expense, but that is an investment because every dollar you put into your marketing machine, you are getting $3, $4, $5 back. Why wouldn't you do that as much as you possibly can afford to do? That's the number one flaw, just mindset frame flaw that I see for investors out there and agents, right? Agents are just as notoriously bad at that. But the reality is, you guys, that most investors approach marketing as a series of tactics and get-rich-quick schemes and golden object syndrome rather than a cohesive system. The reality of what you really need is you need one marketing channel per about 20 to 30 deals a year you want to source. And to maximize that process, if you have too many marketing channels, you are just extrapolating your operational issues to fulfill and convert those leads across multiple channels. And it takes a long time to master any one of them. A lot of you guys aren't using data to improve performance, and you're just blaming marketing channels on marketing performance. And a lot of you guys aren't using the right follow-up systems, which we're going to talk about later. Using our marketing system, we've reduced the cost per lead for our clients to about $60 per lead across the country. And obviously that ranges based on state, county, city, zip code. But most of you guys out there are spending $300 plus per lead. Our clients are spending about $60 per lead with the process that we've built over the last 8 years that we've been in business. With a cost per lead that low, you can scale a business because your profit per deal is high enough to build a team, and your overhead can increase a little bit in terms of building a stable machine and not building a hustle and a prison for yourself. Then you move into level 4, which is sales optimization. Again, this is a sales and marketing business. So this is qualification frameworks. This is a conversion system that actually closes deals at scale. And this is follow-up automations and using AI and systems to build that out. And the reality is, you guys, I want you to understand and digest, if anything from this video, I want you to internalize the reality that at the end of the day, when all is said and done, It takes 90 to 120 days across all marketing channels to get a deal done. We've analyzed thousands of investors with our partners who own CRM companies, and the reality is about 2% of people, about 1 out of 100, 1.5 out of 100 people, when they come into your system, will sell in the first 2 to 4 weeks. That's just the reality. Real estate is a long-term game. As one of our clients puts it, he doesn't expect to get paid for 12 months after a lead comes in. And that's the reality, but you get paid very well for the leads that come in. And then level 5 is strategic leadership. It's how you build a team. It's how you process for intentional growth. It's how you manage, train, onboard, and coach your team so you can duplicate yourself in what's in your head so you are not the person that builds himself to prison. At this level, your role shifts completely from doing deals to directing a team and leading a team. This is where the true wealth creation happens. I'd like to say that you can get rich doing real estate deals. You get wealthy building a real estate business. Now that you understand the architecture, here's exactly how to implement it. Before building anything new, honestly give yourself an assessment. Which of the 5 levels are you weakest in your business? Where are you personally spending most of your time? And which activities are generating most of your profit that you're not focusing enough on? The diagnostic phase often reveals that investors and agents that we work with during onboarding are spending 80% of their time on things that don't make them money and don't really matter. Then phase 2 you should focus on is foundation implementation. Right? Consult with a CPA and bookkeeper on optimal tax strategy, bookkeeping strategy, and make sure you're doing the basics of business. Document your processes as they exist now. Have an operating system in place of how you track KPIs, how you run your meetings, how your company reports and communicates around projects, deadlines, and feedback. Just if you did that, you're probably going to save yourselves tens of thousands of dollars per year, and your team's going to enjoy working for you a lot more. Then you need to move into phase 3, which is critical system development. Identify the 2 most important business needs that you have. For most investors, that is usually lead generation and transaction management. I like to say if you don't have a lead problem, meaning you don't have an overwhelm of leads, you don't have any problem. Build detailed workflows for each system. Create standardized tools and templates, and establish clear performance metrics. Don't try to build everything at once. The goal is to build systems that allow you to scale. Systems are supposed to make you more efficient. And now phase 4 is delegation. Now that you have systems in place and you know where you're prioritizing your time, team, and energy, now you start to hand off work. You can start with a virtual assistant that's very low cost. You can then add special contractors for technical functions and other things. And then you can focus your personal work time on the highest leverage activities, getting deals done, putting deals together, coaching your team. And now you can go into expansion and iteration. I like to say building a big business is not 10,000 hours, it's 10,000 iterations. Now with your core business heading the right direction, you can expand to additional marketing channels. You can hire more people. You can expand to more markets if you want. And at the end of the day, you now have a force multiplier in your business because you have a baseline process, a baseline foundation that's profitable, that can scale and actually make you money. Now, let me address some common concerns that I hear from our clients and people when they come to our events, or they pull me after I speak on stage, or they message me after a podcast gets released. The first question I get is, Cole, how do I find the time to build systems and build a team when I'm trying to just keep my business afloat? And the reality is I call it manager and maker hours. So the first 8 hours of your day, the most productive hours of your day, should go towards creating, making, driving things forward. And in the evenings, you're a manager. You're working on your business. The next one I tend to get is I don't have the money to do all of this. But the reality is you don't implement all of this at once. You choose the most important domino to knock over, like we talked about, and then you knock that over. The third one is usually, what if I build all of this and it doesn't work? And the reality is you get unlimited shots on goal. And most of you guys are building yourself a prison, whether you realize it or not. You're chasing revenue. You're chasing how big a team you can build. You're chasing vanity metrics. If you don't try to build a business like this, it's ran on systems, that's ran on healthy margins, that's ran on the right legal and tax strategy, that is based on a team, that is based on processes, you are going to get to a place in your life where you burn out and you will not be in this industry anymore. And I do not want that for any of you. And let me tell you something. Having a team and a system doing what you think you're the best at, but doing it at 70% of your capacity, but doing it all the time, they are not only going to get better than you eventually, but it's going to be 10 times better at scale because they're doing that full time rather than you doing it with distracted attention once or twice a week. The reality is you cannot reach 7 figures in your real estate business and real profit. I mean, hundreds of thousands of or millions of dollars per year in profit without building this structure. This is the ladder that every single real estate amateur has to climb to become a real estate professional. And let me tell you, you can be doing 100 deals a year and still be an amateur because you're not doing the basics we've talked about in this video. I've seen this transformation happen hundreds of times, and it's life-changing every single time. It's the hustler who likes real estate and is doing deals that becomes the grown-up professional that is actually building a real, meaningful business. If you want to learn more about implementing the 5 levels of delegation and hiring and structure in your business, I've created a comprehensive training, everything I know in my brain from my now 10, 11-year career, and I've put that all into one place. The link is in the description. It's completely free for you. Also, comment below where you need help and which level you feel like you're struggling with. I read and respond to every single comment here on my YouTube channel. Thanks for watching. Remember, stop working in your business and start working on your business and building your dream real estate business and not building yourself a prison.